Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Hello, my dear students. Welcome. Our lesson today about some properties of function. Lesson 8. Even and odd function. What about even function and odd function? How to compare between them? We can compare between them by graphically and by algebraically. Okay, let's see that. Figure 1. This figure is about function symmetric about y-axis. This graph is symmetric about y-axis, left equal right. Okay, this function is called even function. Even function because from the graph it is symmetric about y-axis. يعني ال y-axis هو reflection axis from left to right and from right to left. But in figure 2 we say that a function is odd. Why odd? Because it is symmetric about the origin point. The origin point, it is symmetric point from the graph up and the graph down. And if we draw any line between point x or y on the curve and negative x or negative y on this curve, this ray or this line segment, it must be or pass an origin point. So the origin point is a reflection this graph from up to down. Okay, this is called odd function. This is called odd function. Okay, let's see example. In the following figures, show which curve is symmetric about y-axis and which is symmetric about the origin point. Figure 1, 2, 3. Number 1. This figure is symmetric about origin point or y-axis? Yes, it is symmetric about the origin point. Okay, why is symmetric about origin point? Because if we get 2 and 2 on up and negative 2 and negative 2 on down and draw a line segment between them, it will be passing through the origin point. So the origin point is symmetric this line and this line, so it is a odd function. Okay. B. This figure is symmetric about the y-axis. Y-axis y. Yes, it is asymmetric about the y-axis because left equal right at equal distance from the y-axis. Number C. Symmetric about the origin point. Why origin point? Because the graph on this part, first part, is symmetric about the origin point to get the graph in third part. Okay, let's see even function. It is said function even if f of negative x equals f of x. يعني هنا figure 2 is called even function. Why? Because f of 2 equal negative 2 and the f of negative 2 equals also negative 2. So y is symmetric axis, so this function is called even. The odd function. The odd function f of x is called odd if f of negative x equal negative f of x, like this figure and this figure, figure A and figure C. Why? Because f1 equal 2 and f negative 1 equal negative 2. Here if 1 equal 1 and if negative 1 equal negative 1. So it is called an odd function. يبقى هنا if f of negative x equal f of x, it is called even function. And f of negative x equal negative f of x is called an odd function. طب if f of negative x not equal positive or negative f of x, it is called neither even nor odd. Neither even nor odd. Okay. For example, show the type of for each of the following functions represented by the following graph, even, odd, or otherwise. Figure A is called, yes, odd function, because it is the figure is asymmetric about the origin point. Figure 2 is called even, no. Odd, no. Why no? Because this point is open and the other, our reflection point بتاعتها is closed. يبقى هنا دي not even or odd. يبقى هنا neither even nor odd. Okay. Figure C, it is even function. Yes, because it is symmetric about the y-axis. Left equal right, left equal right. Figure D, yes, it is odd function. Odd function because it is symmetric about the y origin point. يبقى number A عندنا عبارة عن odd function. Number B neither even nor odd. Number C even function. Number D is odd function. Okay. Another example. Show which of the following function is even and which is odd or otherwise. Here we make algebraic test to find which function is odd or even. Number 1, if f of x equal x power 4 minus f5 x power 2 plus 6. هنعمل f of negative x. يبقى هنعمل ريبليس للاكس بالنيجاتيف اكس في الرول بتاعه الفانكشن. الدومين هنا الدومين ايكوال ار، هنكتب for every negative x و x belong ل r f of negative x equals negative 4 negative x power 4 minus 5 negative x power 2 plus 6. As you know, the power is even, يبقى cancel the negative. Power is even here, you cancel the negative, but the function will be x power 4 minus 5x power 2 plus 6. رجعت equal f of x هي يبقى هنا f of negative x طلعت equal f of x. Therefore, the function is even. That's right. Number 2, if f of x equal x power 2 والx هنا belong to n، الدومين بتاعي هنا equal m. Okay, if we get f of negative x, it will be negative x power 2 equal x power 2. يبقى المفروض تبقى even. But x هنا belong to natural numbers. يعني في point هيبقى كل البوينت الاكس اللي هعمل بيها substitute positive، ما فيش negative، وبالتالي يبقى this function is neither even nor odd. يبقى هقوم قايل على طول since ان ال x belong ل n، يبقى ال f هنا is neither even nor odd. Number 3, if f of x equal 3x power 2 plus cosine x، الدومين هنا طبعا according للفانكشن دي is r. why r؟ دي polynomial function ودي trigonometric function، الدومين بتاعي هنا equal r. اوكي، يبقى هنجيب f of negative x، هنعمل substitute للx بالنيجاتيف x، يبقى f of negative x equals 2 multiply negative x all power 3 plus cosine negative x. اوكي، الباور is odd، يبقى هنا النيجاتيف تفضل as the same negative، يبقى negative 2x power 3. والكوزاين as you know بنعمل ايه؟ بنكنسل النيجاتيف اللي جوه، هتبقى result equal cosine x. يبقى الفانكشن عباره عن 2 نيجاتيف 2x باور 3 بلس كوزاين x. اوكي، هنرجع نبص على الفانكشن اللي هو مديهاني f of x. Is f of negative x equal f of x? No. هنا 2x باور 3، هنا negative 2x باور 3، هنا كوزاين x، هنا كوزاين x. يبقى it is a not equal f of x. Is f of negative x equal negative f of x? No, because f of negative x equal negative 2x power 3 minus cosine x. Here is cosine x. Okay, يبقى معنى كده ال f of x negative x not equal f of x، وال f of negative x equal not equal negative f of x. So this function is neither even nor odd. That's right. Number 4. Another example. If f of x equals sine power 2x, we can write it by sine x or power 2. Okay, this function is domain equal r. For every x and negative x belong with r, put f of negative x so that equal sine negative x all power 2. As you know, sine get out negative outside sine, it will be negative sine x. Negative sine x power 2, it will be sine power 2. As you know, f of x equals sine power 2x. So f of negative x it will be equal f of x. So f of x is even function. Another example, number 5. If f of x equal x power 3 cosine power 2x, الدومين هنا equal r. اوكي، يبقى هنجيب f of negative x, substitute every x بنيجاتيف x. Therefore the function f of negative x equal negative x power 3 cosine negative x all power 2. الباور هنا ايفن، الباور هنا اود، يخلي ايه النيجاتيف اكس زي ما هي النيجاتيف اكس، يبقى نيجاتيف اكس باور 3. الكوزاين لما يكون جواها نيجاتيف اكس بنعمل تشينج النيجاتيف تخليه بوزيتيف، يبقى it will be كوزاين اكس باور 2. يبقى هنا الاجابه هتبقى نيجاتيف اكس باور 3 اكس كوزاين باور 2 اكس. اوكي، this function is additive inverse of this function. يبقى معنى كده ان f of x equal negative f of negative x equal ايه؟ negative f of x. يبقى function is ايه؟ is odd. That's right. Okay. Number 6. f of x equal absolute x plus cosine 3x. This function its domain equal r. يبقى هنعمل تيست ليها ازاي for every x and the negative x belong to r. f of negative x equal absolute negative x plus cosine negative 3x. الابسوليوت بيعمل ايه؟ change النيجاتيف to positive، يبقى it will be absolute x. والكوزاين بتعمل ايه؟ بتشيل النيجاتيف بنخلي change to positive، يبقى it will be cosine 3x. يبقى هنا equal absolute x plus cosine 3x. يبقى هي زيها بالظبط f of x. Therefore f of negative x equal f of x. Therefore this function is even. That's right. Another example, number 7. f of x equal x power 3 plus sine 3x over x power 4. This is domain is r minus 0. Okay, 0 is a is not positive, not negative, but we can test it this function by taking f of negative x. Okay, بالدومين هنا r minus 0، يبقى نكتب for every x and the negative x belong to r minus 0 f of negative x equal، هنعمل replace الاكس دي بنيجاتيف x باور 3، نعمل replace الاكس دي بنيجاتيف x negative 3x، انما replace الاكس دي بنيجاتيف اكس باور 4. اوكي. نيجاتيف اكس باور 3 equal نيجاتيف اكس باور 3. ساين نيجاتيف 3x equal نيجاتيف 3 ساين x. Negative x power 4 equal x power 4. Therefore, the function equal negative x power 3 minus sine 3x over x power 4. We take negative common factor from up. The fraction will be negative x power 3 plus sine 3x over x power 4. This function is additive inverse of this function. Therefore, f of negative x equals negative f of x. Therefore, this function is odd. Okay. Number 8. If f of x equal x minus 1 over x all power 3 plus x minus plus 1 over x all power 3, this domain is r minus 0. We can test it by put x negative x. هنكتب هنا for every x ونيجاتيف x belong to r minus 0 f of negative x equal هنعمل replace لكل x هنا وهنا 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 بالنيجاتيف. as you see it will be negative common factor it will be negative x minus 1 over x all power 3 minus x plus 1 over x all power 3. هناخد النيجاتيف من هنا والنيجاتيف من هنا كومن فاكتور مره ثالثه يبقى هيديني هنا f نيجاتيف f of x. وبالتالي f of negative x equal negative f of x. Therefore f of x is odd function. Another example, number 9. If f of x equal x minus 1 over x plus 1 all power 3 plus x plus 1 over x minus 1 all power 3. This is function, the domain equal r minus negative 1 or 1. We can test it by put x بنيجاتيف x by f of negative x for every negative x or x belong to r minus negative 1 1 by f of negative x equal replace اي x من هنا بنيجاتيف x يبقى negative x minus 1 over negative x plus 1 all power 3 plus negative x plus 1 over negative x minus 1 all power 3. هنعمل common factor من up و down بالنيجاتيف ونكنسل النيجاتيف مع النيجاتيف وهنا برضه النيجاتيف مع النيجاتيف هيديني x plus 1 over x minus 1 power 3 plus x minus 1 over x plus 1 minus power 3. طبعا عشان دي بلس فمش فارقه مين قبل مين، مش فارقه نفس البراكت هو نفس البراكت ده، يعني ده هو ده وده هو ده بينهم بلس فمش هتفرق في الايه في الساين، يبقى حل واحد يبقى f of negative x equal f of x. Therefore this function is even. Okay, thank you. Number 10. If f of x equal x plus 2 over x minus 2, this is domain function of this function is r minus 2. So we cannot or we can't find the test of a f of negative x because domain is not symmetric. So this function is neither even nor